Lance Corporal Joe Pablo is still around here. Let's hear it for this young man. Laguna Woods Democratic Club. Let's hear it for the club. What an important election this is. We know they're all important, but right now we're coming out of some deep and dark economic times, and we cannot go back to the policies that put us there in the first place. What our state is going through. I know it's tough, but if ever our state needed a fighter for jobs, if ever our state needed a fighter for the middle class, if ever our state needed a fighter to protect Social Security and Medicare, it's right now, this year, this time, and are you going to get out that vote for me? Back on track. And we know from leading Republican and Democratic economists who modeled all the actions that we took, some of them were tough. We know that without those actions, we would have lost an additional 8 million jobs on top of the 8 million jobs we already lost, and we would have been looking at a Great Depression. And I am so honored that I had the chance to be there to work with our president and our vice president, who I just left, by the way, Joe Biden says hi. I worked with them, so we're beginning to turn it around, aren't we? It's too slow, but we are beginning to turn it around. We have to do what we did. It's not good enough yet. It's not good enough for our families. It's not good enough for all of us. It's not good enough for me. But we are going to come out of this. I've been through so many times, tough times with Californians, and I've worked with you through those times, whether it's earthquake, flood, fire, the dot-com bubble bursting. We've gone through it. All the military bases closing in our state, quite a number. We had to adjust. We had to work. But this is the greatest state in the nation with the most dynamic workforce and the most wonderful families, and we will come out of this back on our feet if we don't lose our courage. And I know you agree with me. We must not lose our courage. Job by job, business by business, worker by worker. That's why I'm so glad, finally, even in the face of a filibuster, we got 2 Republicans to join us, and we passed the Small Business Jobs Bill. This is a great bill that we can get us some useful funds to our independent bankers, our community bankers, and they will lend it to the job creators. Small businesses create most of the new jobs in this country. How many of you ran small businesses in your time? Raise your hands, quite a few of you. The rest of us applaud you, because you were the dreamers, and you were the ones who hired people. And I gotta tell you, small businesses who have great plans cannot get credit now, because the big banks are not lending it. And people who want work aren't getting it from the large corporations. They're back to pre-recession profits, but they're not hiring. So this is a great bill, and we have to continue to work with small business, those job creators. We have to continue to make sure that we get off that $1 billion a day foreign oil addiction. We have to do it. We're buying oil from countries that don't care about us, they hurt us, and we need to have those clean energy alternatives. The whole world is going green, and I want to see the words "Made in America" again. Yes! And right here in this great state, so we can export those clean energy technologies throughout the world. And how about our work to save teacher jobs? We just passed deficit-neutral legislation to save 16,500 teacher jobs right here in California. I'm so pleased about it. And you know how we paid for it? we took away some of the tax breaks for companies who ship jobs overseas. And instead, we hired a teacher from America to teach our children. My opponent called that bill disgraceful. And I ask you, what is disgraceful about taking away tax breaks from companies who ship jobs overseas? What is disgraceful about making sure that your grandkids and kids and mine have a teacher in the classroom? I say it's good for our kids, and it's good for California, and it's good for America. But my opponent never cared much for American jobs. When she was CEO of Hewlett-Packard, what did she do? She laid off 30,000 workers, and she shipped their jobs to China, to India, to Malaysia, all over the world. And while she was doing it, she enriched herself. She enriched herself. And then she was fired. She was fired and named by 5 publications one of the worst CEOs. And this is what she's bringing to the table. This is what she's running on. She didn't even vote. She voted 20% of the time. I won more elections than she voted in. This is true. And now she's going all over the state, and she's got support from Karl Rove. You got there. And she's got support from big outside business interests like coal and oil. Yes. And from Grover Norquist and Dick Armey. Yes. Yes. So this race isn't just about Carly Fiorina versus Barbara Boxer. It's Carly Fiorina and Karl Rove and Grover Norquist and Dick Armey and Sarah Palin against Barbara Boxer. And we're going to win! As President Obama said, we cannot give the keys to the car back to the people who drove it into the ditch. It doesn't make sense. We have to keep moving forward. We can't go back to those Wall Street values of the people at the top getting everything, the millionaires, the billionaires. That's what my opponent stood for at HP. And, you know, you might have heard my opponent had a little comment about my hair. Well, at first I was a little sad about it. You know, I looked in the mirror and I thought, you know, I have had my share of bad hair days. But then I thought, if everybody in California, male or female, who's ever had a bad hair day votes for me, will win in a landslide. So if you go out there to get me votes, and all the arguments fail, you can just talk about that. And maybe we'll win them over. But we've got other issues. She said that my hair was so yesterday. But it's her policies that are so yesterday. Yes, going back to the economic policies of George Bush. She wants to overturn Roe versus Wade. Yes, that would take us back to 1973. And if Roe versus Wade was overturned in any state of the union, women and doctors could be criminals. We just cannot go back. A lot of us know those days. And they were dangerous times for women. So that's an issue. She's quite yesterday on that issue. She even wants to drill off our magnificent coast. Now listen, after BP, and we know we have 400,000 jobs that rely on a pristine coast, the fishermen, the people in recreation and tourism, they rely on a pristine coast. So that's a direct assault on 400,000 jobs. But again, she's backed by big oil. And that's what she believes in. And I want to make sure when you go to the polls and you tell your friends, we have to vote no on Proposition 23. California